Sterling Heights Public Library. My name is Brent, and today we're going to class up a ramen noodle. So, your average instant ramen, beloved of college students and backpackers everywhere, is a lot more versatile than you might think. So one of the first things you're going to need is a good sized serving bowl. You're going to need this because it takes up a fair amount of space. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be adding in. So you can use pretty much any kind of protein you want. Today we're going to be using some shrimp. We're going to start out raw, and I've got a couple of these already peeled. Shell on, shell off. It's going to be kind of up to you, but they're a lot easier when you take the shells off. So quick thing to do, kind of get that off of there like that. Grab a hold of the legs and kind of pull it right off. Now these here have already been deveined, which is handy if you can get them that way, because you don't want that digestive tract in there. If they're not deveined already, all you really got to do is just run a knife up through here to expose that vein and then pull that out of there. To get the tail off of this, once you got the rest of the shell off, you just kind of get a hold of it on one of those fins and just gently kind of pull. You may have to, there, and you lose very little meat that way. So we're going to use those, and I've got an assortment of other things we're going to add in as well. So hard-boiled egg is really nice. Scallions, in my opinion, not optional. We've got some sliced mushrooms here. Got some snow peas. These are really nice. I've got some thinly sliced matchstick carrots here. If you like them a little spicy, you can add a little bit of fresh jalapeno. And I've got some fresh spinach too. This is really nice as well. So let's touch on how to prepare a few of these things. Now you want to get all your garnishing and stuff done in advance, because the cooking part of this is only going to take a few minutes. So to get matchstick carrots, first thing to do, peel your carrots, take the ends off, and then slice them thinly lengthwise. This is just a really small one here. Stack up a couple of those slices, and then just cut them the other direction into nice thin strips. One of the reasons we do this is because this is a very quick cooking preparation, and we don't want big chunks of essentially raw carrot in here. These thin little ones are still going to stay crunchy a little bit, but they'll be nice that way. So snow peas, very similar to snap peas. We've worked with those before. You're going to want to make sure that you get any strings out of here. Best way to do that is to start at the flower tip, break it with your thumbnail, and then just pull. And if there's a string in there, it should just pull right out. Some of them are going to be more than others. Occasionally you'll find a string in the back side too, and you can kind of do the same thing. Just break that with your fingertips and just pull, and if there's a string in there, it should come right out. So one of the nice things about snap peas is that they're flat. So you can take several of them and stack them up, and then if you cut them on a steep bias, you wind up with nice bite-sized pieces that stay nice and crunchy. We've worked with some of these other things before. I got the egg here, I got that peeled. All we're going to do with that is just cut that lengthwise. Keeps the yolk intact in there. So we're doing two portions today. I've got two of these bowls. I've got some spinach in each one. Not a huge amount, but it's going to wilt down a lot when it gets hot. So we're going to take some of these pea pods. We're going to tuck those over in here in each one. How many you want is up to you, but don't overload this too much. You want your broth to stay hot enough to actually cook these. You're going to take some of the mushrooms. We're going to lay those in here as well. And do be a little bit conscious of how this actually looks, because presentation is part of it. The carrots, I'm going to lay kind of down in here. I'm not going to use a ton of these. Lay those down in between the two green things. kind of see how that works. The rest of this stuff we're going to add in on top, and my water is just about ready over at the stove. So I've got 2 pans. I'm going to do one for the noodles and one for the broth. Typically, most ramen noodles usually take about 2 cups of water per serving. We're going to cook the noodles separately from the broth in this case, just so that we've got nice hot broth and plenty of it. So I mentioned I got 2 pans of water here right now, so you want to make sure it's at a nice boil. I'm using a little bit bigger one here for the noodles right now. So the noodles go in for the standard 3 minutes. Go ahead and just make sure that they're kind of starting to loosen up a little bit. Do not cover these once they're cooked. If you have to jam the heat up a little bit to keep them at a boil, do so. Go ahead and set my timer here. And while that's going on, I got my second pan here. I got 2 cups of water in here per batch of noodles. I've got a little bit of mirin here, if you can see that. I like to add a little bit of this to my broth. Not a ton, maybe a tablespoon each. And then I'm going to add those shrimp right to that broth, because these are only going to take a couple of minutes to cook. You can already see they've started to go pink immediately here. So, yep, there's our noodles are softening up a little bit. I'm not going to add the flavor packet until right down towards the end. I want to make sure that all the noodles get down in the water. Don't overcook these mushy noodles, not so fabulous. So when those shrimp turn pink and curl up like this, they're ready. We don't want to overcook these. I'm just going to pull those out of there. Noodles are getting pretty close. Make sure that that broth is nice and hot, and we're going to go ahead and add our flavor packets here. Quick stir, it dissolves very quickly. Check those noodles, they are just about right. Alright, so let's bring this all over to the other side. So we're going to take those noodles and just divide them evenly between the 2 bowls. They are long, so they're going to be kind of all over the place. I'm using chopsticks because these are nice and delicate on the noodles. You can use a fork. If you can't use chopsticks, tongs will work, but they have a tendency to chop up the noodles a little bit, so I'm trying to avoid doing that. That. Go ahead and add in, I got 3 shrimp per serving here. Pop those right in there like so. And now we're going to add broth. You can use a ladle if you want. I'm usually pretty comfortable just pouring it right out of the pan, so that's what I'm doing. I'll make sure there's a good amount of that in each bowl. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that egg right in on top. I like a little jalapeno, not everybody does. Go ahead and hit that with a little scallion on top. One of the traditional things you can use is togarashi spice. This is nice stuff. It does add a little bit of zing to it. And I like just a little drizzle, not a lot, this has got a really strong flavor to it, but just a drizzle of toasted sesame oil kind of finish it off. So, ramen. Basically, at this point, dinner is served. Give it just a moment or two for everything to kind of come together. Give this a try. I think you're going to like it. If you do get an opportunity sometime, the dried noodles are good, but if you can find the frozen ones, you may have to go to a specialty market in order to find those. Those frozen ones are worth your time. Give them a shot.